In this video, we're going to be looking at solving absolute value inequalities. So we don't have an equal sign, we have greater than, less than, and so forth. Greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So let's look at this one first. Okay, well, it's not in a position yet where I can manipulate it. And what I want to do is isolate the absolute value. So I want to get that by itself on the left-hand side. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. So when I multiply this by 3, the 3's will cancel and I'll just be left with that. And multiplying by a positive number does not change the arrow. So 4 times 3 is 12. And then, as I said, to isolate this absolute value symbol, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And dividing by a positive number on both sides does not change the direction of the arrow. So now, I'm in a position to manipulate this. Now, if the arrow is pointing to the right, which it is, there will be 2 cases. And in each case, we drop the absolute value symbols. So the first case, I'm going to drop the absolute value symbol, and I'm going to flip this arrow, and I'm going to negate that. That's my first case. And in the second case, I just drop the absolute value symbol, and everything else stays the same. We need to do them in this order, so I'll get lower number and higher number here. Okay, to solve this side for x, I need to add 7 to both sides. So when I do that, I'm just left with 5x, and adding the same thing to both sides does not change the direction of the arrow, and negative 6 plus 7 is 1. And then I divide both sides by positive 5, and I get x is less than a fifth. Over here, again, I add 7 to both sides. So that doesn't change the direction of the arrow, and 7 and 6 is 13, and then I divide both sides by 5. Now, oftentimes, so what I have here is my answer, but oftentimes, more often than not, you're asked to give your answer as in interval form. So to see it in interval form, let's find it on the number line. So positive 1/5 would be about, say, here, and positive 13/5 would be about over there. Okay. Now here we want x strictly less than 1/5, so I do not include 1/5, but I want everything to the left of 1/5. And then I want x is strictly greater than 13/5, so I do not include 13/5, but I want greater, strictly greater than. Okay, and now to get the interval form, I just go from the red, from left to right. So my answer in interval form, well, starting at the left, there is no left limit there, so I go from negative infinity up to, but not including 1/5. So I have to have a round bracket there. Then I have to jump, I have to skip, so I use a union symbol. And then I pick it up at 13/5, but it's not included. And then we go on forever, and there's no right limit. So this would be our answer in interval form, which quite often is what you're asked for. And to finish up this video, we'll do this second problem. So let's solve this. Again, we need to isolate the absolute value symbols here. So we want to get that by itself. So I will add 4 to both sides. That will not change the arrow. And 3 plus 4 is 7. Then I need to get rid of the 5 here, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. When I multiply that fraction by 5, it goes away. And when I multiply 7 by positive 5, I get 35. And the direction of the arrow is not changed. Now, since the arrow is pointing to the left, the procedure to solve this is drop the absolute value symbol and encase it. And over here we'll have 35, and over there we'll have negative 35. And we want to get x by itself in the middle to solve for x in this case. All right, so to get x by itself in the middle, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 1 from every part. And so I'm going to have negative 36, and subtracting does not change the direction of the arrow, is less than negative 3x, is less than or equal to, so less than or equal to negative 3x, less than or equal to 34. Now to get x by itself, I need to divide everything by negative 3. However, when I divide by a negative, the direction of the arrow flips. So I'm going to flip the arrow. Now, that reduces to positive 12. I have x by itself here, and that's in lowest form. Now, when you're giving answers like this, they either want it in interval form, or they want it in a form where you have x in between two numbers, but they want the smaller number to be on the left and the larger number to be on the right, and we don't have that here. So how do I fix it? Well, I'm going to swap these, okay? But whenever you swap these like I'm doing, the arrows flip. Okay, so this is how you would see the answer in the back of the book. They'd never write it like that. Or when we have it like this, we can get it in interval form. And again, if you're not too confident on interval form, well, let's find out where these are on the number line. So I've got negative 34/3, and then I've got positive 12. And x is going to be everything in between these two numbers and including them. Look at the symbol. So equality is there. So I'm going to start at and include negative 34, and I want everything up until I get to 12, and 12 is included. So my answer in the number line form is what you see in red. And now if I want to change that to interval form, then just read this in red from left to right. So I start at and I include negative 34/3, and I go up to and include 12, so I need a square bracket there, and that would be my answer in interval form. And that ends this video.